Hey guys, Coach Sando here, and we are currently in Aiken, South Carolina, where we're starting off our 2026 Rider Assessment Clinics tour. One of the things that we've noticed so far is how much results our clients are getting because they're doing this one thing that is a game changer. Now, before we get into that, I want to remind you all that if you guys subscribe, you guys will be able to get all the latest and greatest on all things equestrian sports performance. Okay, so what is this one game changer thing that all the clients are doing to get great results? Pretty simple. Consistency. What we are always trying to do with our clients is give them the opportunity for them to be as consistent as possible, because one of the themes that we believe in is consistency over intensity. Because if you look at the calendar year and you have 365 days, if 80% of those you can be consistent in your training, there will be adaptation, there will be change. And when we start thinking about how people are able to be consistent is because they're able to follow a plan that allows them to be consistent. So there's three things that I want to talk about that will help you be consistent with your training program. Tip number one, have a system that allows you to be consistent. What does that mean? Well, in our program, we ask every one of our clients to follow our traffic light system program. This system allows you to be consistent because it takes under consideration the amount of time you have for the week, the energy that you come with, and maybe even life circumstances. In the traffic light system, we're going to go through how we break it down. First, we start off with a red light day. What is a red light day? A red light day means didn't sleep well. Maybe you didn't have the meals that you wanted, so you're tired and hungry. Maybe work or family or other things that happen throughout your life got in the way. On a red light day, what it allows you to do is look at your training program and to decide what is the minimal work that I can do to keep the ball rolling, to keep checking off the boxes and feel good about it. The red light day gives you permission so that your brain doesn't go into an all or nothing mentality where you're either going to do the whole workout or it doesn't count. That can prevent and probably stall progress. So instead, what you can do on a red light day is look and go, okay, what is one exercise that I really, really want to do to improve my recovery? Maybe it's a stretch in the warm-up. Maybe it's doing foam roller work or what we call myofascial work. Maybe it's laying down on the ground, putting your feet up and just going through a breathing practice where you're bringing your nervous system down to what is called a parasympathetic state so that you can be in this recovery mode. That way you can give yourself an opportunity to go from the red light day, exhausted, tired, stressed, to maybe the next day you feel like a yellow light day. And we'll go over that in a second. So, okay, step number one, red light day. Remember, it doesn't have to be don't do anything when I'm dead tired. One thing that you can do that will make you feel good, and then you can check the box and keep it moving. The next day or the next light that we'll go over is yellow light day. Just like the traffic light system, the yellow light day is not necessarily speed through. If you follow the rules, it's nice and easy. What can we do to maybe get a little bit of intensity, but not too much because we don't have 100%. We might be able to think of the yellow light system as also as coming to a workout and you have 75%, maybe even 60% because your energy went to other places. Well, what is the thing that you can do to get the 100% effort of the 60% that you have available? So if you have a workout that has 15 exercises, maybe you do 60% of that workout. Maybe you do the whole workout, but instead of doing 3 sets of things, maybe you do 1 set. Maybe you do 2 sets. What we try to do is with something called auto-regulate, and that's used in the sports performance world. When you auto-regulate, you take your current self for that particular day, and you take the workout that you have in front of you, and you say, well, what can I give that workout that's going to make me feel good? I'm still moving the needle. I'm being consistent, but I'm getting the results from doing the workout, from being present. So it allows you to take the workout and be able to do it. But then the most important part about a yellow light day is that because you're working within the energy that you have and the amount of workload that your body can handle, you can recover the next day better. And why is that important especially for riders? Because if you're always going hard, and maybe you do get through the workout. Maybe you do follow the principle of no days off, and that's fine. I think that there's a lot of people that are only focusing on fitness, that they can do that and not have any repercussions short term. The problem for riders, if you always practice that no days off mentality and be tough, is that you might get through the training session, but what do you have left for your riding session? From a neurological standpoint, what do you have to bring to your horse? In order for you to acquire skill, you need to have a large amount of resources from the neurological perspective. Learning is more about what your brain is able to process and then uptake and then have a skill that's getting better more than the physicalness. And a perfect example is if you've ever woken up and I've tried to like maybe open like a jar or something like a protein bottle, and I'm like, why can't I get the lid off? It feels like it's like glued on there. And it's because my nervous system isn't all the way there. I might have not had a good night's sleep. I might have been too stressed. Maybe the workout before got me and I wasn't recovered. Well, that's what it would be like sometimes when you're horse, especially when you're working with animals that can sense that type of stress. You give off that bad vibe. So now you're not together. Your timing is off. Maybe you're not able to do the things that you usually do. And it all stems because you were training so hard that your body couldn't recover from the workout. It's not like you couldn't get through the workout. It's the effects that had on your body the following day. One of the things that also is very important for riders is to understand the theory of tolerance for frustration. How much can you handle being frustrated? What's the tolerance level? When you are subpar in energy, or especially in the brain capacity, your tolerance level is very low. So your horse might be doing something that you normally would brush off, but for that particular day, you were like, oh, and you started getting out of control with your emotions. If you keep doing these workouts when you are tired and you grind through them, that could possibly be one of the results of doing that. So the yellow light system, we're going to come back to this. The yellow light system allows you to get through a training session still, allows you to recover properly because you're not overdosing your body with exercises that it can't handle. And most importantly, for a rider, it allows you to be the best rider you can be for your horse, either that day or the following day. So the yellow light system, super important. And the last one that we'll talk about is the easiest one, green light. All systems go. You have enough sleep. You feel great. You have less stress than usual. You're managing the stress, right? We never can eliminate the stress, but we're always managing it. And you feel like you could lift a ton of weight. Awesome. Get after it. And then your body will be able to not only handle that workload, but also be able to handle the stresses of riding, whether it's taking in information from your trainer or taking in the overall physical demand of riding a horse. So when you have those three levels of our traffic light system, red light, maybe take it easy and work on recovery. Yellow light, learn to figure out what you can do with your workout and feel how you can auto-regulate a lot better so that you can do what your body can handle in the recovery process, not in the workout process, in the recovery process. And then green light, you'll get a better understanding you'll get a better understanding on what it feels like when you are 100% and then be able to get after it. All right. Tip number 2 to help you be more consistent is all about load management. Now, we talked about this in the yellow light part of our traffic light system, but load management, there's a lot that goes into that. When you're talking about how you look at your workouts and understand throughout the week how you can space out the workload so that your body can recover, and so that for a rider here, so that you can optimize how much skill your brain is able to process. And so it makes it easier for you to acquire a new skill. If you follow models that are based on fitness influencers, bodybuilding, or any type of other sport, for example, if you have a leg day, a shoulder day, an upper body day, those loads can make it very difficult for your body to stay consistent because there's a variable that all those fitness influencers don't have. And the variable is that they go and ride. Now, I was a strength coach for a long time in the collegiate realm. And a lot of things that we had to take under consideration was the load management because they had to go practice. See, we weren't training fitness influencers. We were training softball athletes, volleyball, basketball, football. And so we always had to make sure that we dose the athletes properly with the right amount of work where they can see improvements in their sport, but without getting in trouble of sending them off to practice when their legs were shot or they were so sore in their core that they couldn't do the movements that allowed them to practice safely. So load management allows you to take a look at the week and be able to say, where am I going to get my heavy work done? Where am I going to get my work that maybe not as heavy because I want to have my legs or my body refreshed and recovered because I have a show in the weekend. Load management is also important because it helps you understand the process of recovery. And we also talked about that in the red light day. When you understand how much work you need to get the results, you're able to recover better because you're not spending time on things that you don't need to, right? You're understanding you only need maybe 25 minutes of a training session to get the results you want. Now, a lot of these processes you may be very familiar with because you already do this type of planning and load management, just not for yourself. And if you guess that you do this for your horse, or it sounds very familiar and how you train your horse, you're absolutely right. I can walk into a barn and I can see a calendar of who's supposed to do what's the work schedule like, and it's load managed amazingly. A lot of trainers understand how to manage workload for their horses so they don't get overworked or get possibly hurt, which is another point about load management. Load management also allows you to stay safe while you're training. See, a lot of people don't understand this, but when you don't take under consideration how you're recovering and you go into a workout and you're a little sore, you're a little stiff, you're a little sleepy, tired, but you got to go get it in there, you put yourself at a higher risk of getting injured. And in the college world, if we injured an athlete, that would be bad news for strength coach. Things happen, accidents happen. But the thing that we try to manage is those accidents by managing load so that these athletes are not out there too sore that when they're sprinting or they're jumping that they blow out a knee. And in this case, when we're talking about just like a rider that is not in college, you're just trying to get better, you want to make sure you're managing load so you're not getting hurt in the weight room because then it won't allow you to ride. And we all know how you get when you can't ride your horse, right? You get all the feelings. So managing load helps you prevent injuries. And the last thing I will say about load management and the benefit is when you take a look at your year and you look at how many times you're training and what you were able to do because you were more consistent, you'll understand that load management makes training more enjoyable. Some of us really love working out and we couldn't imagine a day where you couldn't work out. But when it's not like your thing, and it's okay to say that, like, I don't really love working out. I do it because it's a means to an end, and that's fine. But when you know that you have a training day and it's Wednesday, and you know Wednesday is more like maybe a speed day, maybe it's a coordination day, you might find that enjoyable and be able to go to the gym and be okay with that because it's not another grueling 100 squat day. Oh my God, this is going to be awful. So load management helps make your training program enjoyable because it's not always grounding you to the floor and making you too sore that you can't actually do what you're working out for. And that is to ride, because everybody wants to be able to ride, because when you are planning your load management, you make riding the priority, and then you make the training where it's almost like a support system to make you ride better. Load management, something to take under consideration for sure. Now, the third piece of all of this, if you haven't guessed already, it's planning. Planning allows you to understand where, if anywhere in your week, you're already going to predict where you need the traffic light system. Planning allows you to understand how to set up your training sessions so that on the beginning of the week, maybe is a hardest type of training that you do. And maybe towards the end, you start to tail off. Maybe you do something that's called undulating training weeks, where it starts off high, comes down a little bit, and maybe ends up somewhere higher than your middle day, but not as high as your first day. So you see this wave effect of training load, but you have to be able to plan it. Some people plan it by week. Some people plan it by a month, and then some people even get to the months where you're going 3-month blocks. However it is easy for you, being organized and planning out your training sessions will allow you to be more consistent, because you can now forecast what's coming up in your week that is going to potentially keep you away from getting your workout done. That way you can be more proactive about your workouts instead of reactive. And if your goal is to be better at riding, the organizational part will not be as hard as you think, because you know that the end result is you're going to become a better rider. And it won't even be because of the exercises you're doing. It'll be because you show up when you're supposed to show up, and you can do that throughout the year. And that is what I've been seeing so far that's jumped out on me with all these clients that I'm seeing again from last year. The results are there, even though they've shown up maybe 75 to 80% and they feel bad about it. Like, oh, coach, I've only been doing so many workouts. I don't even know why I'm here. Let me test. And we go through the testing and look at that. You've gained so much more mobility, or your posture's better, or you're so much stronger, and they can't fathom how that happened. See, we're using science to produce results that we see in the college and professional realm now with all of the riders. And these clinics are just backing up our systems. So if you want more information about our traffic light system, make sure you leave a comment below and we'll send them out to you. And if you're interested, there's a bonus way that you can actually improve your consistency. And that is to be part of a community. See, the community acts as a support system when sometimes the coach's voice is the last thing you want to hear. But if you're amongst other people, other riders that have the same goal as you, and maybe have different tips or say things differently that would motivate you to be organized, to understand your load management, or to implement the traffic light system, the community is something that can offer that. If that is something you're interested, make sure you comment community below, and we'll send you all the information that is part of our Team Ride community program. All right, guys. Again, make sure you like, share, subscribe to our channel so you can get all the latest and greatest on all things equestrian performance.